So I have a different story for the MD-11 accident that happened in Louisville back in late 2025. I made a post here about it on the I-711 community forum, and we'll go through that, and I'll also go through my corrections. Um, I'll just read it out for you. Uh, so we all know about the MD-11F that crashed in Louisville, but what happened? You see, before we get into my theory, you have to understand how older designs or engines worked. Back when the MD-11 was made, there was a growing controversy and concern about the threat of a detaching engine hitting the wing and damaging it. They invented the engine pylon. Well, it didn't originally come from the MD-11. It was also on the DC-863, I believe, and all the other DC-8s. Um, it's the part that connects the engine to the wing. It serves a lot of purposes, but one of the key purposes is to let an engine detach smoothly if under huge stress. This stress buildup is shown with bolts. Here's where our theory starts. Well, it doesn't. It can also be fatigue cracks. Um, the specific MD-11 was 34 years old, first being delivered to Thai Airways on July 15th, 1991, with a passenger configuration with the registration Hotel Sierra Tango India Michael Echo, being named Pathum 1. It was delivered to UPS on June 15th, 2006, given its current registration of November 259er Uniform Papa, and getting a cargo configuration. It doesn't have any listed major checkups. What is interesting, it must have had a recent checkup with maintenance, and this might not have been listed. This maintenance check might have avoided the engine pylon. The engine pylon. 4th November 2025, November 259er Uniform Papa is getting ready at stand 5 in SDF, which is Louisville. The crew's getting ready for a long flight all the way to Honolulu, what is 8 hours at 17:11 p.m. or 5:11 p.m. local time. It will line up with runway 17 right and it start accelerating down runway 17 right at 5:13 p.m. or 17:13 p.m. local time. Now you have to take everything from this point on with a big grain of salt, as I could be completely wrong. Just after reaching the V1 speed, which was assumed to be 153 knots. So the V1 speed, this was wrong. It was supposed to be the rotation speed, which is my fault. The pylon on the left-hand engine failed, but didn't shave off clean. It ripped itself off violently, shaking the entire aircraft, ripping open an inboard wing fuel tank and possibly ripping off the left inboard flaps, causing fuel to gush out of the left wing and igniting into flames. The wing was on fire and there was no way to stop it. This sort of created intense vibrations, causing air to weirdly enter the right-hand engine, causing a compressor stall in the right-hand engine. At this point, right-hand engine. This point, the nose was raised and the tail-mounted engine was at max power. It could still be at wait. Sorry, let me reread that. At this point, the nose was raised and the tail-mounted engine was at max power. It was still climbing. I made a spelling error. Holy crap! I'm having a seizure reading this. At this point, the nose was raised and the tail-mounted engine was at full power. It climbed to 175 feet, 175 feet max, skimming trees. During this entire ordeal, the aircraft was shaking violently and the left wing was legit in flames. The left-hand wing would have started tearing itself apart, decreasing the area of lift the left wing could produce. The left wing could produce, decreasing the lift the aircraft could generate, making the right-hand wing create more lift than the left, causing the aircraft to bank left while the nose started dropping due to decreasing generation in lift from the left wing. The aircraft would hit the ground at 17:15 p.m. or 5:15 p.m. local time, killing all three crew and 9 people on ground, hospitalizing 15 people. Now let's touch upon the likely ripped off left inboard flaps that the engine must have probably took with it. All the flaps on the aircraft were in takeoff position, so there was even more lift imbalance. It's still being investigated, so take my whole theory with a big grain of salt, though for now this may be the best explanation for what happened. The situation was truly, in every sense of the word, hopeless. So mind you, I made this theory before the official report came out. This is just purely copy paste of that I posted before the actual report. And F22, which is a forum moderator, I'm just gonna read you all the comments. F22 here said, although you could be wrong, this makes much sense. And I said, it's the best explanation I could think of as a certified pilot for the damn DA40. As an instructor at the KLM Flight Academy as well. I know my stuff. It kind of reminds me of a similar engine pylon failure I've heard about, the tragic story of Air Canada Flight 621. I'm gonna recommend you a video in description on that. The vibrations make sense, so I would say that is a valid reason. So I just want to say the FBI and several other agencies are deeply involved in this for a certain reason. This happened before, but more people died. In 1979, a DC-10 took off American Airlines Flight 191. So everyone knows about this. He's trying to compare these two, which is not a good comparison. At this point, I'm hoping for two things. One, it was poor maintenance, and two, that no one else dies. See, well, sadly for you, 19 people on ground died and 15 were hospitalized. I have not updated that count. What's even more interesting, for the lack of better word, is that in both cases it was the left engine. Coincidence, or was the left pylon more prone to failing, or something else? So that's just purely maintenance. I think that Phillips Ferry. I think that Phillips should be on an honorable NTSB crew for this investigation. Let's see the replies on that. For real. I mean, as a certified damn DA40 pilot and KLM Flight Academy, on the KLM Flight Academy, I'm a trustworthy source. Fascinating. I can see this being true. Makes a lot of sense. For real. I mean, okay, blah blah blah. Already said that. Actually, so I reacted on the earlier thingy of gyro. Oh, wait, I could just see that right there. Actually, the two accidents have nothing to do with each other, though we should also account for the fact the left-hand engine on this MD-11 probably hit the inboard left flaps, meaning there was even more lift imbalance than mentioned by me. I did mention this, but I'm just fucking stupid. This was in all sense of the word hopeless. I had to watch the Air Canada 621 video earlier by, was it Green Dot Aviation or another one? It was it was at the start kind of tragic, and they used some good wording which I copied. That had nothing to do with each other, but both of the main causes was no more left engine. Well, there might be key. Hold on, is there some hidden stuff? No. There might be key hydraulic lines running through there. With the first produced MD-11, there was actually concern about the wing fuel tanks being too close to the engine for safety standards even at that time. Though I have no exact idea on this, I could look on MD-11 charts. Also, the DC-10 MD-11 may seem okay, blah blah blah. So yeah, I know gyro. Also join the GGCA and find the cause of the Air India 171 crash too. We'd love to hear your theories. Blah 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 blah. This theory is eerily accurate if I look at the official report on the accident. I'm a genius. And then Shabloom reacted on my fuel tank thingy. Um, this is true. The MD-11's fuel tank layout have no more fuel tanks. No more fuel tanks on the outside of the pylons. But according to the photos of the incident, it struck the number 2 fuel tanks on the starboard wing. But starboard is right. We're talking about the left wing, Shaboom. I don't know how it would have come loose. The pylon might have come loose somehow, and then lift of the wing, or just momentum, pulled it upwards, punctured the number 2 fuel tank, and the exhaust gases ignite the fuel in the wing, which spreads to the engine and spreads throughout the wing structure, spreading to the number one and the center wing tanks. So this might actually be true. You might be a genius. Thank you, Shaboom. According to Phillips Ferry. This is where my correction on rotation comes into play. Oh, you see, he still has the engineer, and this is right after he goes off the ground, as you can see. According to Phillips Ferry, he explains it here. November 259er Uniform Papa on reaches V1 on runway 17 right. So this is supposed to be rotation. To clarify. Starboard, but no, it's not supposed to be starboard. But okay. Blah 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 blah. Differential thrust starts making the engine. Starts making the aircraft pivot to the left on the yaw axis. Hydraulic systems on the left wing fail, making the left aileron fail. Thus torque created by the movement on the yaw axis rolls the aircraft to the left. This is also because the left inboard flaps were broken off, which created even less lift. Fire from the number 2 tank spreads to the number 1 outboard tanks, weakening the starboard wing. If you look at the so number 2 tank, that's still on the left wing. If you look at this left wing, if you look at further closely, it looks like the left wing is bending, which could be one of the possible reasons for loss of control, poor engine causing compressor stall. Yeah, so the bending thing is what is most interesting about this. So the bending might be due to loss of lift, a quick loss of lift. Almost every jet-powered aircraft has when it's on the ground or it has no lift, the wing is a little bit bent downwards, which is especially apparent on the 380 if you've ever seen that. And so it might be that there's just a huge loss of lift causing it to bend and not flex upwards, even though it did kind of, but it wanted to drop down. It did drop down eventually. Fire spreads to the center wing tank, and differential thrust is more than the roll forced by the torque, sending the plane to a skid. The aircraft thus then has small amounts of lift created by the fire in the wing, because heat rises, thus cancelling out the roll caused by torque, if then losing airspeed rapidly due to both engines becoming inoperable, leaving only the tail engine starts to stall. So that's kind of not a good summary. Basically, it's carelessly screwed up engine. No, there was fatigue cracks. So at this point, the FAA tried to silence me. That's why this is not fully said. Speeds that are confirmed to be from the wing slots are found on the runway not too far from the engine. I saw. Okay. Very pilot. Folks, not good. should also immediately indicate, since the wing was bending, the aircraft was also losing lift a lot on the starboard. Which would make the ferry even more make sense, of course. So I'm gonna edit that. I am going to edit that. Left. Yep. On the left wing, which would make the ferry make even more sense, which of course is probably ahead of the actual report released by the FAA. My ferry might be better than the official report. So Shaboom contacts the NTSB about my ferry. I would love to know what the rest of this screenshot says. Thank you. Didn't they ever make a report on this? Not sure, it's still under investigation. So the ferry pilot, a good friend of mine, gives this. The FAA tried silencing Philip about his ferry, which is completely true. So to correct something, the engine did not serve from the aircraft AV1, but served out rotation. Thank you. They did, though. It's still under heavy investigation, I believe. So it's kind of messy, the ferry. But if you summarize and go through this entire video, I believe you could understand it and my mistakes on it, because it all perfectly lines up, basically. And that's the scary part. It all perfectly lines up. Because there's a lot of, on these summaries that were made, that was not mentioned, or that there's a lot of not mentioned stuff in the other summaries of my theory, which is important, like the fire burning the wing, causing less lift to be able to be generated and stuff. I would love to hear your take on this. I know the official report is out, but this might give you a different insight on like the accident, I hope. And yeah, I love you all, mate.